What's up YouTube? Today we're going to talk about what to do with $1,000 if you have it. Today's video is actually a collab with another fellow finance YouTuber. His name's Adam Venture. We connected on Reddit and we decided to do a collab because we're both roughly the same size and we believe similar stuff. So go over and check him out. He's going to have a point in today's video. So if you like videos like these, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It's going to push the content out to as many people as possible. So as of right now, there's a chance that there's going to be a second stimulus check being passed at the end of July. The amount is unconfirmed, but if it's just like the last one, it's going to be anywhere between $1,000 to $1,200. So with these checks, on top of, potentially getting more money from unemployment than you were making beforehand, it might be the first time that a lot of people have $1,000 in their bank account wondering what to do with it. That being said, I know there's a lot of people who actually need the money from unemployment or from the stimulus checks. Go ahead and catch up, get your life together. That's always going to be the number one priority if you need that money to survive on a day-to-day basis. But if you do have that $1,000 around, we're going to go over 3 things that we think you should do if you do have $1,000 to $1,200 of disposable income. So in my opinion, the first thing that we should talk about, the first point I should make, is to dedicate that $1,000 to a savings account, specifically a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Personally, I know a lot of people who are under financial stress simply because they don't understand the order of operations that you should take when it comes to finances. Finances doesn't have to be a stepwise function, but for 99% of people, a stepwise order of operation is going to let them be successful. So I already know I'm going to sound like Dave Ramsey here for a minute, but in my opinion, you should save the minimal amount of money you need in case anything major comes up. And by major, I mean like a car repair, an unforeseen medical bill, a higher than usual utility bill. Dave Ramsey specifically suggests to save $1,000. I did that kind of, and it worked well for me. So at times, I bumped my savings up to $2,000 if I noticed that something was going wrong with my car, just to go ahead and increase that cushion. And at other times, my savings account went below $1,000 because I didn't want to wait to pay off a debt. I didn't want to go one more month with that headache in mind. What I think the goal of $1,000 is in this point is just to force you to start thinking about what could come up, what can you pay off right now, what can you do to help yourself in the next month, the next 3 months when it comes to your savings. So if you don't have debt, I suggest dedicating that $1,000 to building a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So for my example, I usually spend about $1,800 a month in living expenses and bills. So that would mean I would need to save up between $5,000 to $10,000 in a savings account. So now that we're talking about substantial amount of money with no debt, I would suggest holding that money in a high yield savings account. So right now, because of the times we're living in, the high yield savings account return percentage might be lower than usual, but you should be able to find one anywhere between 0.9% and 2.2%. Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of your first party banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're paying you 0.1% or 1/100% on top of having minimum requirements or maybe monthly maintenance fees, where high yield savings accounts typically don't have minimum requirements, don't require you to pay a fee, and they give you more money in return. The reason why you would want to do this is typically your money loses about 2.2% of purchasing power every single year solely due to inflation. So putting your money in a high yield savings account is going to minimize the effect that inflation has on the purchasing power of that money. Personally, I opened a savings account with Ally Bank. At the time I opened it, I believe the APY was 2.2%. Right now it's dropped down to about 1.1%. However, that's still 10 times as much as Wells Fargo or 10 times as much as Bank of America. In some cases, it's 100 times as much. Something else I did, I opened up a debit account with them as well. That way I could transfer money from my savings account to my debit account and pull it out in cash if need be. There are other high yield savings accounts. You could probably Google them. What we're looking for here is something similar to Capital One or Ally Bank. No fees, no minimum requirements, and easy access to your money with at least, I would say, a 1% APY right now. Maybe in 2 to 3 years, I would bump that up to roughly 2% or 3% depending on how HYAs are going. So right now I'm going to toss you over to Adam. He's going to head and explain his point to you, so give him a listen.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Adrian. I appreciate you having me on your channel. My name is Adam Venture, and I have a similar YouTube channel where I talk about personal finance, investing, and side hustles. One thing I'd highly recommend doing is investing in yourself. This can be certifications, boot camps, classes, Anything that will allow you to demand a higher income. Building wealth has two components. It's how much you make minus how much you spend. Money saving tips and tricks are great, don't get me wrong. Definitely keep doing them. A lot of them are easier to do than raising your income, but keep in mind that this is only one side of the equation. Investing in yourself, while more difficult, will allow you to earn more income. This is one of the few ways that you can raise the other side of that equation. If you can keep your spending to a minimum, even after increasing your income, you'll be saving all that extra money, which you can then use to invest and build your wealth. Then the whole thing starts to compound on itself. I suggest pursuing a certification first, because most don't cost that much in time or money and can still get you a nice salary bump or even a higher paying job. For example, my career is in technology consulting, so I went and got a cloud computing certification with Amazon Web Services, or AWS. Many companies are looking to form official partnerships with cloud computing providers like AWS, since they are extremely valuable and lower the cost of their services. Cloud providers often require a certain number of employees in a company to have their certification before they will consider an official partnership. Because my certification would help them form an official partnership, this put me in a unique position to demand a higher salary. And it's not just me either. I have lots of friends who did the exact same thing. The whole certification is around $150, which is a drop in the bucket compared to the several $1,000 salary increase you'll see from getting one. If you can find a similar certification in your field that can increase your salary, I highly advise starting there. If you want to go further, you can look into graduate certificates or even master's degrees. But keep in mind that these are a lot more costly, both in time and money. Taking the time and money to invest in yourself is one of the best things you can do for your career, your financial goals, and your overall quality of life. Thanks for listening, and I hope this helps you achieve whatever your goals may be. I'm gonna pass it back over to Adrian to finish up.
Thanks, Adam. So, like I said, both of us, we believe very similar things. And the way I learned everything I learned from YouTube was subscribing to a lot of people, hearing their voices, applying it in my life, and keeping what stuck. So if you guys want to subscribe to him, go ahead, like his video. We should have a collab video up on his channel as well. So thank you guys for listening to him. My last point that I want to make, if you have $1,000 laying around, do everything you can to clean up your credit. One way to do this is to open up a secured credit card. These cards are mainly for two people. It's for people trying to rebuild their credit, and it's also for people who just don't have a credit history and therefore they have a low credit score and they won't get approved for an unsecured credit card. So the way these credit cards typically work is you go to Capital One or somebody, that's the one I used. And a secured credit card is where you give them, say, $100 and they'll give you a $200 credit line back. Typically, at least when I was doing it or looking into it, the pretty standard rate was a 2-for-1. So if you give them $100, they will give you a $200 credit line. So there are predatory ones out there, just like there are for every credit card, some with monthly fees or yearly fees. Avoid those at all costs. It should be just a 1-for-2 return. Over time, say 6 months to a year, you should be able to apply and get approved for an unsecured credit card. This is going to help build your credit score, giving you lower interest rates on loans that you're going to need. It's going to lower the amount of down payment or security deposits you need for apartments. You're going to start getting benefits from those credit cards. It's something you want to start early and master as quickly as you can, as fast as you can. So if you have $1,000 to $1,200 extra dollars right now, this would be a great step to dedicate, say, $100 to $200 of that. Now, I wouldn't put all $1,000 into it. So with the other $800, I would suggest calling if you have any accounts and collections. There's a whole method to the madness there, and you need to understand what you're doing. So I would research that before you do it. But you can use that $800, say you have accounts and collections, to try to settle those and get them removed from your account if they just got added on there, say 4 years ago, and you don't want to wait the 3 years for it to drop off your account. Or you could try to lower the utilization rates of some other credit cards that you have, depending on your own personal situations. If you don't need to do that, just put the money into a savings account and build up, like I said before, to that 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. That's it for this video. If you guys liked it, please like and subscribe. It really does help play into the YouTube algorithm and spreads what we're trying to teach to as many people as possible. So remember, it may be hard now, but it doesn't always have to be. I'll see you guys in the next one.